can't tell, but I'm really far away from my camera and my tripod, so if I'm not in focus, I'm really sorry. It's really difficult to get those things set up yourself if you didn't know from making videos. So yeah, I'm sorry in advance. Also, I do have hair. It's just hiding behind this pony because it is a hot mess today. So I decided not to fret with it and get this tag over and done with right away. So I wanted to make a book tag because obviously, as you know from my channel, I don't just do beauty videos. I kind of like to mix it up and kind of, I guess, say beauty and brains sort of thing. I have all of the questions here on my phone and I'll be putting them down below. I'm tagging everybody and then a few specific people that I know wanted to be tagged in this video or are avid readers themselves. So feel free to just leave a video response below if you'd like, or just comment saying what your favorite books are or any, you know, different answers to all the questions I'm about to ask if you'd like to answer it yourself without having to make a video. So I guess we'll just go ahead and get started. I kind of watched a few different videos and read a few different blog posts for book tags that I've seen go around already and decided to create my own questions and mix up the questions that I've already found.
So this will be my personal book tag. It's about to happen.
For the first question, I wanted it to be, what are your top 3 favorite books? I'm not going to go in depth of every single book and what it's about, or else this video would be like hours long, but I will put the information, if I can, for each book down below. That way if you're interested in reading them or knowing what the synopsis for each book is, I'll have it down below. So for top 3 favorite books, I think this is kind of one of those categories that can change over time, because to me, your favorite book correlates to your favorite time period or whatever you're going through in your life. Number 1 is Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer. This book is pretty much what got me into being a vegetarian, eating better, finding out what's actually going on with our food, not just with animal cruelty but factory farming and things like that. It's very unbiased, where he's not gonna, you know, try to turn you or anything like that. But I was already becoming a vegetarian kind of in the process. You know, I had already watched a lot of documentaries and it was just always something I was interested in, and I felt like when I became vegetarian all my morals kind of aligned and everything just felt better, including my health. I don't ever get sick anymore really, but that's a whole other video. Anyway, yeah, I'm in the process of becoming vegan, but when I was becoming vegetarian, this was like a Bible for me because it really kept me going. It was incredibly inspiring, very informative, but in a way where it wasn't boring. Like, it wasn't just statistics and things like that. He actually told stories, so it was just very gripping. It wasn't boring, and I could read this over and over and I'll always find something new that kind of sticks in my head. The next one is Heartlight. This book is by T.A. Barron. It's more of like a sci-fi book, but this has been my favorite basically all my life since I could read.
Well, not since I could read, because it's obviously small print, not a child's book, but
it's been my favorite for a very long time, no matter what period of my life it is or what I'm going through. It's just one of the best books I've ever read. And the third one, I had to pick kind of like a manga comic style book just because I feel like those are important to me as well. This is really the only one I feature, but I have millions more that I can show you. This one is by Junko Mizuno, and she's one of my favorite illustrators slash manga comic book writers, I suppose. And this one is Princess Mermaid. It's absolutely my favorite. It's a little, like, I guess PG-13 if you want to say that, but it has gorgeous illustrations. The story is really funny, kind of like a creepy cute story, and I absolutely love it. Second question, Twilight or Harry Potter? I had to include this question because I know it's one of those, you know, most talked about things with bookworms, and I hate it, but I had to answer it. I would say that my answer is pretty obvious.
I could literally work out with these books. This is ridiculous.
Harry Potter, yes, for a million reasons, but I'll just list some of them. First off, when it comes to vampires, I'm more of like a classic vampire lover, like Dracula and actual vampires, not the ones that glitter in the sun. I will admit I did watch the movies because my boyfriend made me watch the movies. So at that time, it was not an option. He had gone with me to see Harry Potter, so it was kind of our compromise, but definitely not into Twilight. I personally, don't take this personal if you like him, but I think the acting is awful. When it comes to the movies, I think the acting is awful. I'm not a fan of the story. I read the book when I was in high school before the whole craze came out, and the book was okay. It was nothing, you know, spectacular in my opinion, but it was just very simplistic. I didn't enjoy the story. Just everything about it, I wasn't really captivated. So with Harry Potter, I felt like it was just a whole other, they're not really even in the same category, so I feel like it's unfair to pick one or the other. But with Harry Potter, you get like more rounded characters, the stories are better, it's more like adventurous and with a touch of mystery, and I don't know, I just think overall, as when I was younger, I had a better sense of who the characters were in Harry Potter, what the story was about. It just made me feel like I was there with them and like I wanted to be there. The world that J.K. Rowling created was just something so incredible, and even the movies themselves captured it so well, even if it did leave out a thing or two. I just could go on forever about it, but definitely Harry Potter.
Oh my gosh, it's already been 10 minutes and I'm only on question 3.
Question 3 is, do you smell your books? And I'm not gonna lie, I am not ashamed. I love to smell books. It's the best thing ever. And I guess it should be like a tag of what are your most embarrassing secrets, but I can't help it. I love it. I love the smell of an old book, a new book, just the pages themselves. That's why I have a Nook, like I have an e-reader, because I used to work at Barnes & Noble, but I never use it just because having a book physically in your hands, and it's just like, yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm turning out to be such a freak, as usual.
Number 4, hyped books that you disliked. I do not have these with me. I think I had a copy of one, but I usually, when I worked at Barnes & Noble, you could kind of use it as your library, so I would just read it at work and I finish it in like a day. But it's this series, or I'll just put it right here. I believe it's called like Suki Stackhouse series, or the Stackhouse, I don't know. They're the books that True Blood was based off of, and that's why I wanted to read it initially, is because I loved True Blood and I wanted to see if the books were any good. But to be honest, I know this is going to sound horrible because the writer, I don't want to offend anybody, but I thought the writing was just so simplistic. I didn't like the story at all. I liked the series itself on TV just because obviously it had, you know, the imagery and things like that, but I have a pretty damn good imagination and it didn't do anything for me, so I just really didn't like those books at all. I figured that everyone told me once I read the first one I'll be really gripped in it and I'll want to read the next one, and I didn't want to read the next one, so I tried, but number 5 is the thinnest and the thickest book on your shelf. For the thickest one, although it's kind of a smaller copy, which is probably why it's thicker, this is the thickest one, so it's Les Miserables, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and it's obviously a classic, so everyone probably knows by now thanks to the movie, but it's by Victor Hugo, and it is incredibly thick. It's actually thicker than my Harry Potter books, but like I said, it's probably because it's a smaller copy, but I wanted to be strict on the questions, so yeah. And then the thinnest book is actually one that is in Portuguese, because it's one of my Brazilian copies from when I was younger, but it's called Coisas que toda garota deve saber, which means things that every girl should know. This book kind of helped me growing up when I had questions relating like puberty and stuff. I guess it's kind of like the Brazilian version of Chicken Soup for the Soul, so, or Chicken Soup for whatever. And yeah, I really love this book. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of takes me back, but it is super thin. Number 6 is Do You Write as Well as You Read? Like I said in my 50 random facts about me, I'm not a cocky person, but when it comes to my writing, I am. When I speak, I can't be as eloquent and I'm kind of ditzy, but when I write, it's like I'm a totally different person. Some people don't even believe that it's actually me. And my major is photojournalism, so I've just loved writing all my life, and yeah. There's a book called Eats, Shoots, and Leaves that I'll link right here. I have it with me, but I don't feel like getting it. And if you're also a writer or you're kind of a grammar nerd, you're gonna love that book, so let me just throw that up. For favorite classic, I had to cheat because I have so many classics that I love. It's kind of my thing. I love classics, so I tried to narrow it down, but just warning you, there's gonna be more than one.
So yeah.
Let me just go ahead and just name all of them so this doesn't go on forever. Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut, cannot say it. One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich, I hope I'm saying that right, and this is by, I have to look at it, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, yeah. The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway, Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, Moby Dick by Herman Melville, and Tolstoy's Anna Karenina. Favorite genre? I would have to probably say that I don't have one, to be honest. I wanted to ask this question because I know a lot of people have specific favorite genres, but I read a lot of books at the same time just because I love the different genres. So I'll read like a biography. Once I'm sick of the biography, I'll move on to my fiction, or maybe nonfiction, sci-fi, manga. I love it all. So I guess if I had to pick one, when I was younger it was horror and mystery, true crime, stuff like that. Now I think it's more fiction just because I like the escape of it all, but it's really kind of a mix. Books read most times, and that'd probably be Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, just because ever since the whole series ended, you know, movies wise and books wise, I've been really not sad, but yeah, a little heartbroken. So I like to reread it just because I like to go back to the beginning where it all started, and it really brings back some memories. So I love reading this one over and over. The second most read would probably be Heartlight, which I showed earlier. As for favorite characters, once again I'm gonna say Harry Potter. All the characters there, they just became like, I don't know, you feel like they're just part of you. I read World War Z not long ago and I like the characters there as well, but I don't really have one specific favorite character, which I hate because I probably do, I just can't think of it right now. But I get like really engrossed in my characters, like I get really attached to them, so yeah. I have this one book that is called The Encyclopedia of an Ordinary Life, and it's by Amy Cruz Rosenthal. I'll link that right here. She's one of my favorite authors. Or really, that's just one of my favorite books that I forgot to mention. But I guess she's the character in that book since it's more nonfiction. So if I had to pick, it would be that. I've emailed back and forth with her and she's just super inspiring. Currently reading. As I said, I like to read more than one book at once. I'll just start with the one that I'm reading because I kind of have to read it, but I do like it. And it's called Wheat Belly. A lot of you guys have probably heard about it. I'm now on a gluten-free diet because I found out I have a gluten intolerance, which is why I had gained so much weight. So this has kind of changed my life in a way because it's not really a diet, it's more of like a lifestyle change that I have to adapt to. And I'm already vegetarian, so it's been a little difficult, but this has made it a little easier. The next one I'm reading is by one of my favorite people alive, and it's Bossy Pants by Tina Fey. This book I'm reading slowly because I love it so much. It's so funny. So whenever I'm having a bad day, I'll kind of reach for this and it really helps. And then the last one is called We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. And I love this book so far. I'm actually rereading it because I started it and then left it for another book. Not because it wasn't interesting, but just because I can't even explain to you how my mind works. So I'm rereading the beginning so that I can just jump right into it again and finish it finally. It's not the thickest book ever, so it should be easy to finish, but I love it. I believe this book was actually written or published in the 60s, but I'm not sure. It is another one of those classics, so I really like it. Okay, book that you would most recommend. And this book I actually have, I actually lent it to one of my friends, so obviously I'm going to pick this one as the one that I would most recommend because I tend to give it to a lot of people to read because I love it so much. It's called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. And this book is incredible. I'm just going to read what it's about so you guys have kind of an idea because this is incredible. And since it's my recommended one, I'll read it to you so that you guys don't have to go through the trouble of going down there. Okay, so her name was Henrietta Lacks, but scientists know her as Gila. She was a poor black tobacco farmer whose cells, taken without her knowledge in 1951, became one of the most important tools in medicine, vital for developing the polio vaccine, cloning, gene mapping, in vitro fertilization, and more. Henrietta's cells have been bought and sold by the billions, yet she remains virtually unknown, and her family can't even afford health insurance. Yeah, if that doesn't make you want to read it, I don't know what will. I feel like this is one of those books that schools should make students read just so they realize what goes behind things like this. But that and Eating Animals I think should be two books that everybody reads. But that's favorite childhood book is my last question, and that is number 13. My OCD really took over and it was like, no, do an even number for the end, but it was the perfect amount of questions in my opinion for a book lover, so I stopped it there. For my favorite childhood book, it'd have to be Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark? And the this one's a Brazilian one. This is the Menino Maluquinho. If you're Brazilian, you know who he is. And I read this one like a million times when I was little. So these three would have to be some of my favorites. I think I liked Goosebumps more than Are You Afraid of the Dark. I think I like the Nickelodeon series better and then the books better for these. So series, TV series, books. Sorry if this is like a year long, but I couldn't stop talking. Okay, breathe. So I hope you guys like this tag. Feel free to do it yourself like I said. If you have any other suggestions of another tag I could do or another video I could do next, let me know. If you're a gamer, you'd like to hear some of the games I've been playing, I don't know, just let me know below. As usual, I love hearing your comments, so yeah. I never know how to end the videos. If you guys have noticed, I'm always like, so yeah, bye. I'll just say bye and then like pull another scene with the goodbye. Okay? Okay, let's do that. Bye!